Howdy, everybody, and welcome to the TexAgs High School Football Show, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Academy has all your high school football road trip needs this season. Get the right gear for the long season with free curbside pickup today at Academy Sports and Outdoors. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the TexAgs High School Football Show, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Enter for your chance to win a $10,000 Academy gift card to an SEC championship game tickets just by signing into the Academy app. The Ultimate SEC Football Sweepstakes runs from October 8th through November 18th. No purchase necessary. Odds depend on when the entries are received. Again, that ends on November 18th. You can find complete rules at academy.com/official-rules. That's a pretty cool deal, Jason. I mentioned it last week, and pretty sweet deal from our people at Academy.
Absolutely. That sounds like a lot of win for a little bit of effort right there.
That's right. Well, there was a lot of winning going on around the state last week. I didn't do much of it. I didn't get to see much of it, I should say. I was on the road at a family function, but you and Cade were out on the road again, checking out some games in the around the state of Texas. Cade saw a really good one in Houston, but we always start with what you saw in Dallas and some of your takeaways.
Well, I had two big district matchups, undefeated at least in district play, and top ranked in the state opponents. Thursday night, I was out at Keller ISD Athletic Complex to see Keller face off of South Lake Carroll, and my goodness, I I thought South Lake Carroll would take care of business in this one, but they came out to send a message and they delivered it promptly. They stopped Keller on the first drive and then moved down the field swiftly, put it in the end zone, and it was game over from that point on. They scored, I want to say, 56 straight points and limited Keller to 0 until the fourth quarter. I have to say, I was pretty impressed with what I saw out of South Lake Carroll.
Coach Dodge.
Yeah, they've got it rolling over there, and they're state ranked for a reason. This is they're getting some really good play at quarterback Graham Knowles. He last year he was thrust into the starting role and seemed a bit overwhelmed oftentimes, even throughout the season. But he looks like he's really found his rhythm and found his stride in that offense, and they are rolling. They picked up Riley Wormley is back in action after being ruled ineligible, and then that ruling being overturned. So last week was his first game back. 15 carries, 109 yards, and a touchdown to go along with a 9-yard reception. He looks spectacular. And they've got another guy, 2026 running back Davis Penn. I mean, he's a lot like Owen Allen. And he picked up with Wormley out. He carried a heavy load, especially on the ground. And last week, 10 carries, 62 yards, but 3 touchdowns. So he was hard at work and got to see Jack Van Dorselaar do some work, the 2025 tight end. He had a 91-yard touchdown reception. I think that's more than he had all last year on one reception, and showed a lot in the blocking game. Was really getting after it and showed a little physicality to his game. So it was good to see him get after it and get to work. And then on Friday night, I was at Forney for that Forney Longview matchup. And I had a feeling it was going to be a fight, and it was 13-7. Longview was the final score, but these Longview's two in the state right now, and so they showed why. The offense moved the ball more consistently. That Lobo offense with Taylor Tatum leading the way definitely seemed to have a little bit more punch than an explosive Forney attack. But really, it was defense that led the way for the Lobos, and it's going to be the reason why they are making a strong push. It's that defense. That defense is all over the field, creating turnovers, and just really one of the best running backs you'll find in the state. 2026 Forney back, Javian Osborne. That man, they shut him down. They limited him to, I think, 3 yards a carry, which is, I mean, that's that's ridiculous. He couldn't get going. It really threw that Forney offense off, and yeah, it was a long night for Forney, but they had a chance to win at the end, and the Lobo defense stood up tall and knocked them back. And yeah, but great game, back and forth there in Forney, and I got a feeling we'll be hearing from those Jackrabbits and the Lobos during the playoffs.
Yeah, so like I said, I wasn't at a game last week, but I was able to kind of keep up with what was going on around Greater Houston, and even there's a team in San Antonio I want to shout out. But Cade Drawn, our assistant, was
Hmm.
at North Shore against Summer Creek, 31-21. North Shore hangs on to win, and I say hangs on because it was
Yeah.
21-21 late in the second half, and North Shore scores the final 10 points of the game to win it. Caleb Bailey looks like he's back to full health now. Two rushing
Hmm.
touchdowns, two passing touchdowns. So every touchdown that the Mustang scored, he accounted for. But that I think it was a little bit of a statement for Summer Creek because in that district it's such a gauntlet. All the attention always goes to North Shore and Atascocita, but
Hmm.
I think a lot of people around the state really garnered a lot of respect for Coach Harrison's Bulldogs there at Summer Creek when they saw what that score was going into the fourth quarter. And Summer Creek had been rolling through everybody. We kind of had a pretty decent idea that they were a very strong, well-rounded group that can really play defense, and
Hmm.
they proved that again on Friday night. So, North Shore, we know what they are. Uh,
Yeah.
Summer Creek, I think, was the one that had a lot of people kind of trying to guess what they were, and
Yeah.
I think they left the biggest impression uh, there in that district matchup on the northeast side of Houston. And I want to say this too: uh, there are a couple of teams that I think are catching fire in my region that I cover that we
Hmm.
haven't spoken about at all.
Okay.
And I'll start here locally. College Station High is rolling now. They double up Cedar Park 56-28.
Mm.
I believe that's 6 wins in a row since that opening week loss to Lucas Lovejoy. So it seems like they've found their footing a little bit. I also wanted to talk about Fulshire, the Chargers, and Coach Kadudi down there put up another 60 spot last year. If you'll remember, going into the playoffs, they were averaging something like 53 points per game going into the playoffs. They can really score the football. That's a newer area of Greater Houston, like the development and stuff. And so people, like, they're not going to be short on players. People keep moving out there, new neighborhoods popping up. I think Coach Kaduti's in a great spot. They go 3 rounds deep before they lost to Smithson Valley, maybe 4 rounds deep last year.
Yeah.
And so I expect another deep run from the Chargers there, and then one more team that I do cover this area, but not as much as I do in Houston. The San Antonio Johnson Jaguars are undefeated, 6-0, and
Yeah.
I need to look at. I had their schedule pulled up, but I don't know that they're going to get tested the rest of the year in the regular season. And they have got a player who I think is a fan like dynamite game winning type of quarterback
Definitely.
in
Yeah.
Ty Hawkins.
Yeah.
Saw him last year open up the season against Converse Judson before anybody really knew who he was. And he just went crazy. And he's having another really good year this year. Uh, just this really sneaky team out of Central Texas there, San Antonio Johnson.
No doubt about it. Agree with you 100% there on Mr. QB out there in at San Antonio Johnson. That dude is just a gamer.
Yep,
He
he's
uh
a baller.
he is gutsy. You know when you're facing Johnson, you're gonna have to take him down like the freaking Terminator. Like that dude just keeps on coming. Um, yeah, and I got to throw out a couple things here. I mentioned the Coppell Cowboys last week. They are sitting atop district play, and let me tell you, they that Louisville win sent a shockwave, and then they beat Marcus by a couple scores, and Edward Griffin, 2025 quarterback, is making some waves, making a name for himself. uh, 6'2", 195 pounds. I want to say he's got over what's he got? Over 1,200 yards passing already, 14 TDs to one interception. The Cowboys are going to be one to watch. They're in control of that district, and that to me that's the key. That spells a deep run in the playoffs for these guys, and that's something that I don't think was expected coming into the season when you had Louisville, everybody talking about. Now I still expect some big things from Louisville, but Capel, put them on that arrow up squad. They're going to be moving up the rankings. They got a chance to really enter the playoffs on a run, undefeated, and they're rolling. And then I just love looking at these state rankings, and you see Timpson and Merfurio 1 and 2 at 2A
Yep.
Division 1. I got a feeling we're going to have a little playoff matchup with some big time Texas A&M prospects down there in the lower levels.
Yep. And I
Later
want to shout
on.
out some more of these, these small school teams that, again, maybe over the years past we haven't heard a lot from, and are now climbing into the state rankings. I mentioned Hampshire Finette,
Mm-hmm.
and I think a couple episodes ago. Now they're up to number 7 in the state in 4A Division 2. Monahans,
Mm-hmm.
Canyon West Plains Center, the Rough Riders. All of those teams are in the top 10 in 4A Division 2. And then in the top 10 in 4A Division 1, Needville, coming off a Little League World Series run this summer. But the
Riding the wave.
the Needville Blue Jays make their first appearance in the state top 10 in 4A Division 1. So there's a lot, man. There's so much stuff to play for still, Jason.
Yeah.
We're getting down to the nitty gritty, some district races being decided.
Mm-hmm.
Fort Bend Marshall falls out of the top 10 after a loss to Texas City, a surprising loss to Texas City. They got big problems on the offensive side,
Mm-hmm.
and don't look now in that 5A Division 2 state top 10, Jason. At number 7, return the South Oak Cliff Golden Bears. After
Hey.
2 early losses, SOC is getting right back to where they're normally at and are used to being.
Well, and that was a big win over Kimball. And I was just about to shout out Jaden Shelton. 10 tackles, 2 for loss, 2 forced fumbles, and a PBU. Just an all-around excellent game. That's to be expected. When South Oak Cliff enters district play, chances are they're not going to see a whole lot of matchups. Kimball's one of them that really gives them a contest, but that's why they play such a tough non-district schedule. That's why they take on Duncanville, DeSoto, and try and see some different styles with an Episcopal, Parish Episcopal in some of those schools. So they are well-rounded coming into the playoffs, and they're not intimidated or haven't seen some of these things from the playoffs. So you can expect those Golden Bears to be right there. But I'll tell you what, man, Aledo is looking strong.
Aledo is just the class of 5A D1 right now, man.
I mean, if I had to put, they'd be right up there.
Pick a state champion in any classification right now. Who you gonna put the most money on? It's Aledo, no question.
Yeah, they have been steamrolling, folks, and looking good doing it. And at Longview's right there behind them. I have serious questions about that offense. Even with Taylor Tatum. I mean, Taylor Tatum, 31 carries for 183 yards last week, and they were still held to 13 points, and they were stuffed inside the red zone a couple times. So it's not like they've got some things they got to work out over there in Longview, but Aledo looks, yeah.
Well, we are barreling toward a South Oak Cliff and Melissa matchup in the playoffs, and I think you should be there for that one.
Well, I was there last year. I'd say there's a pretty good chance I'll be at this year's too. Right now, I try and hold off on South Oak Cliff until the playoffs now, because after the preseason, it's, hey, let's see what happens the first couple rounds. So,
all right, what's the plan for this week?
Well, I'm not going to be in Texas this week.
That's right.
So I do want to throw out before I say where I'm gonna be. I want to talk about a couple big games here in the Dallas area. Frisco Emerson at Argyle. Definitely put that one on your radar. Argyle's bounced back after a couple of early season losses to Lovejoy and Melissa, and they're getting it going. And Frisco Emerson, man, they're just undefeated and whipping the dog out of everybody. So that's going to be a fun little district matchup. And then you got Allen at McKinney. McKinney, as they're the only loss that Longview has on their record. So I mean, McKinney's been impressive. They got a ton of talent, and it's at home. This is a big chance for McKinney to send another big message across that 6A landscape. But a couple big matchups there. And I will be in Mississippi this weekend. I will be at Thursday night. I'll be in Tupelo to see Tristan Jernigan and linebacker and Texas A&M commit and his guys go up against Madison Germantown. And then Friday night I'll be in Hattiesburg to see Oak Grove take on Brandon. See the Maddox brothers go to work. And
AJ Maddox has been awesome this year.
I mean, I'm telling you, A&M's got a couple really good quarterback commits. AJ Maddox been on fire, and I'm super excited to get out there and see some Mississippi ball. So it should be a fun few days.
Well, I will be back on the road. I'm going to start Thursday night. Going to go see Katie Jordan, the Warriors, Coach Raby there, and Andrew Marsh and Chad Gasper and Deacon Stanfield and Zach Sample and all the offensive weapons they've got. They're taking on Katie's Seven Lakes in a district matchup. Then on Friday, I'm going way down south on I-45 to Hitchcock to see a top 10 showdown or a top 5 showdown between Hitchcock and the visiting Columbus Cardinals. Really talented quarterback matchup there for a small school.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you've watched any film from Adam Schobel there at Columbus. He has looked awesome. So that one's going to be a lot of fun. And I think from what I understand, they're going to be turning out the lights in town because everybody will be there at that game. And I'm potentially even going to a Saturday game. So I'm looking at something in Cypress Saturday night, maybe at Bridgeland Cy Ranch. I do want to go see Cy Woods play. So I may be even doing something on Saturday to try to make up for my lost week.
Well, you're telling me there's a Schobel in Columbus and he's a ball player. There's
more than one.
Well, I know, but
they've got like 3 of them on the roster. But
yeah, chances are they're going to be pretty good. But I did pick Hitchcock to win state, so I'm gonna.
Well, Kelshawn Johnson has been incredibly good this year. Down there for them and the Bulldogs, and we know how talented that group is. Lloyd Jones at quarterback, Damian McDaniel. So they got plenty of talent. But, Columbus feels a little bit slighter, like a little bit of chip on their shoulder. They lost last year to Franklin in that just insanely tough 3A Division I Region 3. And they've got their sights set on AT&T Stadium. And I'm sure Hitchcock does as well. So this is going to be a really fun district matchup.
No doubt about it, man.
All right. Well, and I think Cade will be at George Ranch against Fort Bend Hightower on Thursday. And then on Friday, he's going to see Houston Legacy play St. Thomas, I believe, in Houston. St. Thomas or St. Mark's, one of the two Houston area private school. So he's going to go check out A&M, 25 A&M offensive line commit, Josh Moses, and a loaded Houston Legacy roster. So that's it for us. Jason, wish you well on your journey to Mississippi. And we inch closer toward playoff season in the state of Texas. For Jason Howell, I'm Ryan Brauninger. Thanks for tuning in to the TexAgs High School Football Show.